I don't want to record you. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. Much appreciated. It's all new. Okay. All right, well, welcome everybody to Huron Valley Audubon's first meeting of 2023. I appreciate all the audience in person, and I appreciate who's ever out there online. Thanks for joining us. So just want to thank also the library staff. Lyon Township Library has been an excellent partner for us with all this technology that I know nothing about. So much appreciated. We're starting this year with 3 new board members. We have Susan Wellman-Smith as our new treasurer, Don Kiesler as our communications person, and he's the one that's been taking care of our Facebook page. And Spence Vanderhoof will be our new field trip person. Spence, however, is not here today because he is at the boat show, as he is also into fly fishing. And he is the president or vice president of the Fly Fishing Club. So let's get started with the program. And again, I appreciate everyone who being here. Motus Wildlife Tracking. So let's just take a little look here. There we go. So we're going to do a little history, a little bit about bird banding, satellite tracking, then Motus tracking, and some of the results that we are getting. All right, so humans have been tracking animals and people as long as that we have been on Earth. Many societies, and there are still some societies that migrate along with the animals as they migrate. We continue to track animals, curious about their footprints or their signs that they leave behind. What do we mean by signs? We mean holes where holes shouldn't be, a scat, and of course the ever-present food bits that you find in places you don't want to find them, like your garage and basement. Man has been curious about bird migrations. At one time thinking birds disappeared. One early observer thought that swallows migrated to the moon. Bird migrations were recorded in Europe at least 3,000 years ago by the ancient Greeks, writers Hesiod, Homer, Herodotus, and Aristotle. (1822), and I'm surprised this was so late in our observations of birds, but German villagers shot down a white stork that had a spear made of African wood impaled in its side, and dubbed the philostorch or arrow stork. This unfortunate bird provided some of the first concrete evidence that birds migrated to different. We're going to skip forward 100 years, and the bird banding laboratory at the United States Geological Survey integrated scientific programs established in 1920 to support the collection, curation, and archiving and dissemination of information from banded and marked birds in North America. This information allows for the developing effective scientific management and conservation. This method of tracking birds relies on data provided by the bander for each and every bird banded, as well as the retrieval of the bird in the future date, or the retrieval of the band if the bird was taken or found, which is very rare. Since 1965, 3,100 Swainsons and gray cheek thrushes have been banded in Colombian wintering grounds, but only 6 bands have been found. So that shows you how rare it is to get any kind of retrieval data from just bands alone. Wing tags are also used on bigger birds, and you have a wing tag right here. I'm sorry my camera didn't pick it up. But it's that yellowish tag that's on the wing of the swan. This is a trumpeter swan with a wings tag that was spotted at Kensington Bay Metro Park. And Blanche Wiki is the one that spotted it. She sent the information in and got a really nice certificate telling her that the bird had been banded in 2017 in Burlington, Ohio. Ontario. Okay, you're right, Ontario. Satellite tracking of birds. So now we skip forward another 60 years. And GPS satellites are first launched in orbit by the US Air Force in the 70s. And they were made available to non-military purpose in the 1980s. And then, but that data was not always accurate until 2000, when the public was given access to the location data with the same accuracy as the military. So satellite transmitters can use either satellite, and then later on became available to be used by GPS cell phone transmitters. And for anyone who cares to, excuse me, I have one here. I have an actual used, this is something that we would have used on our osprey. And it's tied to the back of the bird, around the chest, under the wing. Look at that, but you can see that that's large and heavy, and so that's only good for larger birds. Then the Osprey project, Michigan Osprey and Huron Valley Audubon, were able to find the funding for 22 of these transmitters in partnership with the DNR, Detroit Zoo, the Metro Parks, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife for 22 of these ospreys. These units were designed to drop off in 2 or 3 years. We were able to follow these birds on migration, with few birds getting to South America. Even fewer birds came back. As far as we know, only one bird, DTE's Ozzie, actually made her trip back, and she made it back as far as Ohio. And then we lost track of her. I'm hoping that the reason we lost track is that her unit finally fell off, as it should have done. Each telemetry unit was $5,000, which purchased the unit and the data tracking for the life of the tracker. So now we're going to talk about Motus. Motus is an international collaborative research, uses coordinated automated radio telemetry to facilitate the research and the education and ecology and conservation migration of migrating animals. Motus is a program out of Birds Canada, and partnerships with research organizations and those that want to host antennas. I discovered this while attending a conference of Michigan Audubon members in 2017. The presenter was Dr. David Brinker, who is still very active in the birding world. He's out of Pennsylvania. And I was inspired to look into Huron Valley sponsoring some antenna. In 2018, we were able to work with the Huron Clinton Metro Parks, David Kerbach and Tim Collington of the Metro Parks, and Barb Jensen with Michigan Osprey, Wayne Wilson, Don Kiesler, Spence Vanderhoff, myself from Huron Valley Audubon, and Brenda and Rich Keith out of Kalamazoo Bird Observatory. And we secured permission to put a Motus antenna at Kensington Park. So Michigan has the Michigan antenna array. We have quite a few. As an essential part of the Motus system is these hosted antennas, placed in areas where the birds will migrate the most, and the radio signal is emanated from a nanotag. Our antenna system was operational in October of 2019. And it's part of a line that is placed from Lake Michigan to Lake Erie and other areas in Michigan. Kensington's antenna is a part of array number 165, along with 17 other antenna. 3 of them are in the UP. There are also some other arrays in Michigan. Array 156 hosts 4 receivers for Audubon Great Lakes for the tracking of the black tern. Array 274, Cooper County Audubon, hosts 2 receivers in the Keweenaw Peninsula. And array 48 is at Whitefish Point. The Kirkland Warbler Project also hosts antennas in Michigan that are seasonal, so you won't always find them on the map, with 2 permanent antennae in Florida. Hi, welcome. Nanotag. So what is a nanotag? They are several types of nanotags, very small, very lightweight tags that are glued to the creature and designed to fall off after an amount of time determined by the weight of the tag. Depending on the size of the bird, any tracking unit can only be 1 to 3% of the bird's weight. You can see, looking at the satellite transmitter, that there's no way we could get that to the size that would be able to host a songbird. Tags are solar, battery, or the new hybrid, which uses both and combines both power sources. The cost of a nanotag is between $200 and $250 each, far less than the $5,000 needed for a satellite transmitter. So this is from the Motus website itself, and it shows you, I don't think I can get in closer, but so the radio tag is put on the bird flies past the antenna, and then the data is collected. But what is neat, it's showing some of these different migrating routes. And if you noticed on the map of North America, you'll see one that route that starts at the Pacific coast along the northern border of the United States and comes down through Michigan. Keep that in mind. Some other species tagged are bats, bees, butterflies, dragonflies, turtles. I'm sure there's much more, but the pages wouldn't load after 3 pages of this data where you can get this information. Stupid computers. So at this point, I was going to go to the Motus website, but PowerPoint doesn't want us to do that. Fine, be that way. All right, so what have we learned? Migration has shown that birds spend, and this is just new information, I got this from Rich Keith. Birds are spending up to a half of their life just migrating back and forth. That's a lot of time spent moving. Swainson's thrushes have 2 migration routes, one down the West Coast and one across the country. And it's been discovered that the route they take is in their DNA. That's a pretty cool discovery. It's also been learned that Swainson thrushes that winter in areas with less nutritional food sources seem to leave up to 10 days early and fly slower to the breeding grounds, while birds with better nutrition sources remain on their wintering grounds and leave later, but fly faster. Most of them arriving on the breeding grounds at about the same time. In 2020, it was discovered that non-breeding Kirkland warblers explore far more territory than it's been assumed all these many years. They really do, the young'uns, the non-breeding birds really do spread out quite far from their natal grounds. The lead researcher, Nathan Cooper, out of the Smithsonian Migratory Bird Center, found that 1% of breeding birds and 60% of non-birds explored much more than a few miles that he expected them to fly. And this is just a little bit of the data that we're learning from the Motus system. What's next? Well, Motus is growing. In less than 10 years, tracking system has grown into a robust international network of more than 1,600 receivers in 31 countries, used by more than 2,000 collaborators studying more than 35,000 animals of 300 species, generating over 150 peer-reviewed publications. HVAS goals, we would like to add 2 long and 4 short antennas to our system and update the data collection systems from the SD card that is read manually to a cell system that reports the live data. What we would also like to do eventually is maybe be able to sponsor some of the nano tags for our researchers in Michigan. And so this on the left is our current tower system. On the right is what we would like to eventually grow to. And I'm hoping that eventually is soon, because I'm very competitive and there's something going on here. I'll show you in a bit. So here's the original install team. Dave Kerbach is on the far left. He has since passed away. Barb, Corey Wortling, Corey is our technician, and he's the one that puts the guts of the box together with all the raspberry and strawberry and whatever components that they take. And Tyler Mitchell, who's the current environmental specialist with the Metro Parks. And Dan Boyer, the guy in the hard hat, he's the one that actually did all the install on the tower. It was really super to have him. Corey, Barb, and myself. I want to thanks to Rich Keith and Kalamazoo Bird Observatory. Rich is the one that's put together Array 165 that has the antenna from Michigan to Lake Erie, and then in a few other parts in Michigan. Array 165, the one that we belong to, is the largest array in Michigan. Huron Clinton Metro Park Board of Trustees, which approved us. Adam Habercorn, he's the maintenance supervisor at Kensington, and a few others from Huron Valley Audubon and the Metro Park system. In summary, humans have been tracking animals throughout time. Technological advances have allowed us to track wildlife across the land masses, and oceans. This very valuable information is needed in order for us to protect the habitat here and the overwintering grounds. North American bird populations have dropped drastically since the 70s, losing almost 3 billion birds. Stray cats take over 1 million birds a year. In some cases, we've lost as much as 70% of some of our populations. And as populations drop, so do their survival rate. Every creature is important and has a role to play in the ecology of Mother Earth, whether or not we understand that role that they play. And I think that's very important. We don't always know the role that a creature, a mosquito, plays, but it does play an important part, if nothing more than a food source for another creature. So from this point, we are going to go to Motus.
So let's exit out of here. Let's hold on. So we want to exit out of
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
right.
There we go. All right. And we're gonna go to desktop. I'll just minimize this. Oh, we can't minimize when you're recording. Okay, so what I need to do is just.
There we go.
There you go.
All right.
All
So
right.
anybody can do this. Now we're not,
Let me make sure it's sharing now, because it doesn't look like it's in Zoom.
here, down here.
Down there. Yeah, okay. There we go. Okay, perfect.
All right, so this is motus.org. And anybody can do this. You don't need a sign on, you don't need to create a profile, anything like that. So this is your homepage.
Well, it's not showing on the screen.
Okay, we had this problem the other
We
day.
did, so we're gonna go back into settings. And. It's not doing that. There we go.
That's it, got it. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So anyone can explore Motus and the data that's being picked up from all the creatures that have been nanotagged without needing to create a login or anything else. So we're going to go to, and fingers crossed, explore data, and you get these choices. So the first thing you need to know, because there's hundreds of lists. I mean, you could go through the list all day, but you want to narrow down. So the first thing you want to explore is the receiver locations. And if you drop down, you want to choose, well, you can choose any one you want. You can choose to explore Australia, but we're going to go to the Western Hemisphere. And there it is. And then, all right, this is in the way from where I want to go.
Yeah, minimize that.
Can I minimize this? All right,
Just
without,
minimize that. There you go.
all right, so down here, I'm just going to keep zooming in and moving the map and zoom in, moving the map, zoom in. All right. Now see how the buttons turned red where the hand is? That's what you want. So I'm going to go up here to Detroit, and it's not always easy. There, I'm going to, once it's turned red, you can hit on it, and it will give you Waterloo State Park. It will tell you it's the Michigan array, number 165, the same array that we're on. And so that's what you want to remember. You want the array number. If we go over here, this is the water plant. This is on array 156. This is the black tern study. And so that you can do this to any place you want. But once you have that array number, we're going to go back. and you go to projects receiver tag exploration. And up here in your filter, you type in your number, 165. There you go. And so this is the Michigan Motus array. So then you see who is sponsoring the array. And you have your table of 18 receivers. And there they are. And you can explore any one of these. We're going to go to Kensington. Oh, I want to show you Kensington so far has picked up 18 tags. Jackson is breathing down our neck at 17, but Jackson's got the 4-tower antenna system. All right.
In what time since putting it up?
Yes, since putting it up, and you see that they're very late. They came along in November of 2021.
I want to try something.
Sure.
It's not showing, it's like stuck on another screen on the participants that are.
Oh,
It's really weird. So
Okay.
I want to do this. I want to stop share and then share again.
okay.
Um,
Do we need to go to settings?
I don't think so.
Doesn't look
So
like it.
it's not- hold on. So this is what we want.
Mhm.
Oh, I see what's going on. It's opening it up in another tab.
Oh,
And that's why it's not showing on the other end. Every time it opens a new tab, it's not playing well. So. Where's the
hello,
share?
Marla.
It's the green one there on the bottom.
Yeah, there we go. See, this is what you're on now, right?
Okay, yep.
But that's not what they were seeing
All right.
on their end, so.
They can
now-
now see your application. Okay.
So what, I'm not sure if when you click on something, if it's.
Probably gonna change another
changed
tab.
again.
Right. So we'll see if we can keep you.
That's showing, yeah.
Now, all right, so let me go back. All right, so what did you suggest?
You might be able to get a drop down that allows you to open with the same. Not take.
All right,
No, it doesn't look like it. But it's okay, because I'm seeing it now. It's changing.
okay,
It's opening it within the same tab now.
all right, so this is the Kensington Tower. And tags detected, you see tags detected 18, and you can get a table. No, I don't want you, go away. I want not the timeline. I still can't read this thing. I want the table. There you go. And so these are all the tags that our little tower has picked up. Yes, so we have quite a few whippoorwills that come through. These 3 here that say null, I don't know why either the data wasn't picked up by the researcher. The researcher has to kind of push some of this data. But we actually, last March, and we have some tree sparrows coming through on their northern migration. Semi-palmated plovers have come through. This year, we had 6 Kirkland warblers come through our area. Now, usually at night, usually for just a few moments, but the warblers are coming through the Kensington area. That's more than any other tower in Michigan. Yeah. And this robin, that's brand new, that just posted the last few days. So I want to take a look at this little Swainson's. And we'll let okay, we're gonna see if, all right. And I want down here on the bottom, there's a map. If you click on the map and let it load, this will show you the track that little Swain, yes. So we started out in Vancouver. When I first loaded this data, he came through this route, and I saw this much. So since then, I don't know if this is another year later, but he then managed to make it down here. And then if this is this year's migration route, I don't know, but that is an awful lot of flying for one bird. And going back to the results, this is where the DNA came in. This bird's DNA is telling him to take this route. So that's just absolutely amazing.
Did you do that for the route with one person?
We can go find out, see how far they, all right, so. I'm gonna,
Go to the Bahamas. I don't do this.
well, and, the Kirkland warbler has permanent antenna in Florida. So maybe we need to explore that one too. So I'm gonna go back again. And we will go down to a Kirkland. So let's see here.
Kathy,
Yes,
like the purple warblers. It's hard to, you can't really tell from the second contact deployment where those places are at. Is there some way to know those?
let's go to this map.
Wow.
So it's showing us pretty much, so all those, oh, you can't see them very well on the screen, but you've got little circles. In the center of that circle is an antenna. So this shows you how many antenna are, seasonally put up in that area, in the Kirkland warbler area. So they've, let's see here. They're gonna turn red for me, fine.
Can you enlarge it up in that area?
So this is probably where it was tagged, detected on September 14th through September 19th. And then he flew to here.
Kathy, what's the range on the?
They're about 10 miles, about 10 miles, 15 kilometers is, yep.
I'm kind of confused that little tag on those, is that was the detected information on what was detected. You showed a screen earlier that had said the word Bahamas on it. And so these.
That, I think what you're seeing is the name of the project. I'm not sure, we'll go back. I will go back. Anyway, he was detected at this one on the 22nd of June. And then if we come down. Okay, fine, come down this way. Is detected at Kensington on September 19th.
So then it wasn't detected
Anywhere after that.
there?
Well, or that's, depends on when I read it. I'm not sure. It could be. It could be. I was talking to Erin Rowan, and she hasn't pulled her Motus, her antenna card now for several months. So it could be that somebody else is not updating their towers or updating their data.
But they got to fly over a Motus tower to
The-
be picked up.
Yes, yes.
And thanks.
Brian, is this what you're reading? Kirkland Warblers Tracking Bahamas to Michigan?
Right?
That's
what
it.
each
That's,
person-
yep, that's the title of the project. Right.
Well, they know that they winter in the Bahamas.
Right.
It's the only place they found them is the Bahamas Islands.
Well, you know what we could do?
The Bahamas have pine trees. So that's their similar habitat.
It's only on certain islands, right?
Yes.
Here in the neighborhood.
Yes.
So let's go find those. Let's go find the towers in Florida, because I kind of know where they are.
You said they glue these things on the birds? What-
They glue them on, yeah.
That stays.
Probably elephant glue. I mean, you know.
Silver glue. Medical glue.
All right, this is for, that's not the one I want. Do.
You probably have one out there in the Bahamas. You go off the coast of Florida.
All right. I don't know if this would be, there, well, okay, you see how sensitive this is? All right, I'm gonna approach it slowly. See? I have spent quite a bit of time. There we go. Getting fickle finger of fate. All right, so. Well, this is for Sora migration. Fine.
Maryland National.
Project, all right. ID project. All right, let's go see if we can find number 172. So I want to go back to. See, you can be doing this all day, folks. Yep. Project 172. There we go. This is what we saw. So it looks like they have 4 receivers. In Bahamas, in Hampton, Maryland. Okay.
So do the birds have to fly over those specific receivers to be picked up, or can they fly over?
They can
other-
call any receiver. That radio signal can be picked up by any receiver. So if one Kirkland got wayward and went westward, any other receiver out there would pick it up.
Okay, so why did they list those ones together? That's just part of the same.
That's part of the same project. Yes, yeah. So these people are hosting 4 receivers. As the tags detected only 8. Tree swallow. That's interesting. A red knot, a white rump sandpiper. Let's go take a look at this one. Wow. Okay. All right. Non-stop. Right. This is amazing. From Nova Scotia to Bermuda.
You don't really know that. Because that's just showing that it showed up at one point and then showed up at another point. It could have gone by way of Ireland or.
Right.
But that's true. But there's,
But let's see here. Let's see if you, let's take a look here. Oh, come
I
on.
don't think of the dates for closer now.
Oh, right.
That's what there. So this was detected on September 11, 2020. September 12.
Wow.
Yeah, September 12. That's some flying. Yeah. It's better than American Airlines, folks. Let me tell you, direct flight. Oh, fun. A little addicting, isn't it? Yep, birds. Go back. Back one more time. All right, let's just see what the tree swallow did. Come down here to map. No map. That's ocean, folks.
Loading.
Yeah. It had 39 votes.
Oh, wow. All right.
All the same bird.
It's the same bird, same tag. So let's see, we started in New York. It looks like we started in New York. It could be where it ended. August 7. August 15th. See,
That one has a due date on it, on the tag, so what does that mean then? Is that it, that's.
it was recorded there for 2 days. Yep,
Stop and review.
yeah. September 24 for 0 days, 2 hours, 8 minutes, 29 seconds.
Wow,
The
All
same
right.
year.
yeah, yeah.
Go back more.
What did that make a wrong turn?
Yeah. Look at this bird hop around.
Maybe
That's
you
good.
didn't like the street then.
Nashville. There we go. He was hanging around Nashville in 2020. Yeah, several days. November 9th, 2020 is when it's still being recorded there.
I would guess these are not all straight lines, if they were actually flying around, it could have been another state between,
Yeah.
you know, Denver and Kentucky, you could have gone to Texas during that time.
Why did it go so many different places? That's just so awful.
So here it is on September 4th, 2019. And then looks like it came back. Yeah, went and came back. Wow, that is amazing.
Is that what they do?
What does that mean? Detected at
I know.
the top end.
Detected at home. I don't know where home is. Yeah.
Have you ever done timeline? Next to where you put on that. Touch anything?
Let's go.
You're not allowed to be there. Your access level is.
Aha, aha.
Right, there's, see the date ranges underneath of it? You have to click on them.
They're both the same date range.
Yeah,
Yeah, looks like it requires a login. Do you have a login?
I do. So here's the Cape May Point State Park that hit that. South Cape May. So this is that same bird that we're looking at. This is, yeah,
Puts them in order.
yeah.
If you click on the word home, will it tell you what home is?
Home. Transdat German. That's just the project, Great Plains, Huron Desert Motus. Wow.
Or that could be where they're tagged.
Right, right.
Where they're tagged.
Or it could be somebody's home antenna. He's got an antenna on his house and he just named it home. Yeah. No, it says that, you know, you're looking at the receiver deployment. So yeah, it could have been. I don't know. I not know, which is a shame. I should know. There's a lot of data unpacked there. Yes, there is.
So what are you hoping to find with the new receivers that we are gonna find? We're gonna install here? What would you hope for?
What would I hope for?
Yeah.
I would hope for a lot more of our warblers to show up if they're being tagged somewhere. Show up some more of our birds, for example, rusty blackbirds are in deep decline and we don't know much about them. And I know I've seen them a few times. They've been at Kensington. It would be nice to know when they come through, when they go back. You know, because it all depends on habitat, and global warming is playing such a big part of this that I'm sure we don't even recognize yet. So, and I just want to make sure, I'm just sure Kensington gets more birds than anybody else, and I just have to prove that. But if we're going to have, you know, the metro parks take some of the habitat management, you know, you kind of have to back up some of this with research. So anyway, so we've been to Bahamas. We've been to South America. We've been to Michigan. And like, yeah, you can sit here, nothing to do on a rainy day. Take a look at who's out there. So once again, to find that information, you explore data. Anytime now, honey. There we go. And you find your receiver because you need that project number.
Crane. They just landed right behind us.
Yeah. We have two that are regulars.
Yeah.
You can explore Europe, you can explore Australia.
There's nothing on the very thickness of the Gulf Coast.
Surprising, right? There's a lot down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what about, what is that? King Ranch,
That's
Corpus Christi?
But look how far south you could still go and stay in the United States, and right on the coast, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Have the money to finance.
You have to have the interest. I'm sure the money is out there. But yeah, a good portion of the Southwest is not covered.
What's the cost, Kathy, of the tag?
Tag is about $250. And that does cover the data retrieval as well as the tag. And because they also price tags kind of you get a little bit more of a discount. You can get a little bit of a discount on depending on how many antenna that you're also sponsoring. So we could get our tags at a fairly decent rate, but
How long do they last? One season?
probably one season, one migration season, because going back to the one slide, it says the time depends on the size of the tag. So I think a butterfly tags lasts about 2 weeks at the max. So, you know, on a songbird, maybe a few months. Of course, then again, with that tree swallow, he was out there for a long time before that tag fell off. And I'm not sure how to unpack all of that data. I'm sure the researcher does, you know, because he gets more information, but where he went and when he went and, you know, but he was doing some trucking.
Looks like they could use some coverage from the city.
Kathy, who's doing the tagging? Is it like a similar setup as to bird banding? Do they
Yes.
have-
Yes, it has to be a researcher. He has to have a project, has to have his license. Yes, and then for those researchers, they have to have training. Rich Keith would love to get some tags as well as, so Rich Keith is the one that sponsors this whole array. And then, Jen Owen, Brook Lake Banding, would love to have some tags. And if we could ever sponsor 30 tags, I'd love to see if they would each take a few of those tags and ban the same species. To see if those species took the same track, if at some point they merged and took the same track south, or if they always stayed independent. That would be kind of cool to know. Yeah, we have a little bit of a gap up in here.
If you notice, they go across the state, and that was.
Yep.
That was the plan, because the birds would have to come through the state, so they made a line across.
Right.
Meaning that those birds up in Traverse City are gonna get caught in the line that's going across.
Some interesting things, some of the eastern whippoorwills hit our tower as well as some on the line further west, like on the Pittsfield line. Some of the Kirkland warblers hit our tower as well as the one, I think this is the Taylor Armory. Yep, that we've had a few birds hit both of these towers. If we go up here,
They were saying they were gonna go to cellular data collection and transmittal instead of SD cards.
yes,
They should back up with the SD, don't you think? The cellular is not. Full as you can use these.
array 274. Go back here. Then explore the data again and go to the project. They've detected 15 tags. They've gotten a lot of the warblers. Scarlet tanager. So these, but they're all flying through. Days detected 0. So probably, they were there just for a few hours to refuel. Let's just check out the Tennessee warbler. This is a little bit different kind of map. This shows exactly where it was detected, but it doesn't show the path it took, just near Lake Plummago.
Because it wasn't picked up by another tower.
Maybe.
So when you see the 0 time spent, there's gotta be a timestamp on it too, so it might find they're all at night.
It could be.
I was reading that as that was where that this tag deployment is when the bird is pasted with the tag. And that the 0 time spent is it's never hit a tower.
Right.
Yeah, it's
After-
still, yeah.
So. It spent no time in that area after deployment.
Right.
And it has not been found elsewhere.
Yeah.
Go back to the table where it had the bird sightings, there were. So it might be one back. Here.
Yeah.
You'll see that you then have receivers detected by, which would be a bird
0.
that's hit 1
Right.
or 2 receivers. So that scarlet tanager would have a map with a line on it.
Yeah, it's got the timeline table down here.
Did it tell you though, the time of day that it
Sure.
hit your receiver?
Detected at tagging site on September 30th for 0 hours, 0 days, 0 hours, 5 minutes. So it's there for 5 minutes. Wait a minute, I forget the date. For September 30th. All right, so then we're down here. October 9th. So that's how many days it took from September 30th to October 9th. So 10 days to get this far. And the 10th. Yeah. It's the next day. And you know why we have no any more information? I don't know if the tag fell off, if the bird was taken, if the bird decided to, hey, I'm ditching these antennas and I'm going someplace else. Just don't know at the moment. So we've learned a lot. We have a lot to learn. Anybody have any other questions? Any questions on?
No questions in the chat.
What was the price of a current Motus tower installation?
Depending on how much components we need, at the max, I'm looking at $4,000 to increase our antenna system. I still have to go to the Kensington board and get their approval. Then we'd still have to arrange for the installers and everything. But that would include all the antennas, the new equipment for the detecting to collect the data. And then if we need to a standalone tower, though I don't think we would need one of those. But there's some other obstacles in the way, like how much can we put on the current tower? Would we have to have a new tower? There's some issues with making sure that we do not conflict. The radio signals don't conflict with what the Kensington uses for their radio communications throughout the park. So there's a lot to be done yet.
Where in the park is it?
It's on the maintenance building.
I
Behind,
live main office.
Mhm.
Do
Yeah,
you ever have to worry about weather damage? or
so
anything?
far we haven't. I keep some money aside for repairs if we have to, but so far, no. Matter of fact, in my first, when we were first researching the items that we needed, I'm actually the one that came across the waterproof boxes because it is on the outside of the building. And that seems to be working just fine.
I was just wondering, do they have any idea how many birds total have been tagged throughout these different projects? Do you know how many birds are out there?
You know, there's a ton of projects. There's pages and pages and pages of projects. And like I said, how many birds? Well, they said over 35,000 creatures have been tagged, but they're not all birds. I mean, they're even tagging turtles and butterflies and dragonflies and, you know, we should probably get a dragonfly project number. So if I went back here to explore data and I just hit on this, there you go. There's a, you know, array number 1 is in Ontario, and there's just pages and pages and pages of projects. So, I mean, so anyway, just, you know, just tons of different projects.
Is there a picture of like a tag that you put on a dragonfly? I'm just trying to fathom how you can glue something onto a dragonfly and have it stay on. Or a bee.
I think you've actually seen them. This is that species tagged. So this is what's being tagged, but wood ducks, and like I said, I could only get 3 pages to load. Most of these are birds. But yeah, I think you've seen them. They're just look like they're just a tiny little sticker. I think you may have seen them on butterflies. If I go back to that, I can't go back to that slide. Yes, I can. I go to Motus. Let's see, data. Oh, resources. What's nice about this is these resources. This is all available to the public.
There's no link.
No, okay. Okay. There, this one shows a butterfly.
There's a dragonfly on the right hand side of that page.
See, and it's got a little white patch right here along the side of its body. Okay, fine. This one's got a little white sticker that goes along its abdomen or, yeah, you know, its body. Yeah. I wouldn't want to be the one putting the tag on. Things stick to my fingers. You know, like, oh, okay, whoops. You've been tagged, right?
Another question.
Yes,
Your
sir.
Upgrading property begins, the antennas that you're using are very directional.
Right.
So when you're upgrading your system, are you then pointing them in a different direction?
That's the whole point, is to get different directions. Yes, and you spotted that just by the picture. I still don't understand all of that, but we go, I think, east and west. So yeah, maybe some north and south. And part of that is to extend the direction. Part of that is to extend the signals that we pick up. I think those antenna pick up just, and I'm guessing here, but because I know we had to worry about the megahertz, that they're picking up tags that put out this megahertz, you know, or a range of megahertz. And I think part of that is to extend that, the frequencies, yes. Yep.
Kathy, where are you gonna get the money?
From this, from you guys. Yeah, and it may take, you know, may take a little while, but that's the plan. And like you said, you can get lost in this data. This is just fascinating, especially when you see the maps. You know, I mean, I hadn't even thought of exploring Bahama towers. But to see that tree swallow, it's amazing. You know, and what he was looking for, who's to know, like, why? You know?
But they're finding out more about the migration
Yeah,
patterns, where they're going.
right. And when they're going there,
I
because
thought
this
when
is so,
they just went there,
yeah,
and that tree swallow, he didn't like it there.
right.
Decided to go someplace else. So I mean, they are finding that out.
Maybe
And the young ones wander. So
Yeah,
it could be the place there too.
we need to overlay a weather map of a big storm.
That's
system
true.
on top.
Yeah, you have to, yeah, have to look at many different factors, things.
right.
I know with Cleveland, with the offer, there was a site, the operator was falling around, you actually could follow them down south. And like, I think that was Leroy, wasn't it?
That could have been Leroy's, yes.
And he got down around Nashville, Tennessee, and stayed there for a couple weeks, flying all over.
Right.
So online, you can go down and watch this particular bird, where he was home and when he was home. And he ended up down in Florida, and that's where he's gonna be.
We also know that I believe 2 of our osprey had actually gotten caught in hurricanes. That they were doing well, they were making their crossovers and then disappeared over the ocean, just as storms were coming through.
There was one I know, five, two.
Yeah.
On a golf.
So if there's no more questions, we could end this and then,
Then you can.
okay. So I want to thank anybody who was watching, much appreciated.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Where's my